I'm just taking my cat out for a walk. It's important to exercise your kitties. Come on. Come on, Trouble. Let's go for a walk. Hey everybody, welcome to Country Girl with Kathy Jarvis. And we've been busy, and one of the things that we've been doing is installing an irrigation system. Now I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and actually I was a little intimidated by it. I knew the process was fairly simple. Row out the water tube, attach the emitters, and put out the the drip tape or the line, whichever one you're going to use. But I don't do anything simple. Everything is complicated. So I was going to take this system, which was meant originally for above ground use. I was planning on doing this into a raised bed between 3 different greenhouses, and then into a in-ground melon patch. So I had to draw up and design my own drip system. Now I started out with a Grower Solution Master Gardener's Kit, and this came with 1,000 feet of drip tape, I think 100 feet of mainline water tubing, 20 emitters, and that's in the pressure reducer and the filter. And that was all it came with, and 2 couplings. That wasn't enough for what I had in mind. So I had to order some elbows and some T's and wait for them to come before I could continue with the plan. And luckily my husband was nice enough to help, and we got this done. Oh, it would have been done within a couple of days, but of course I got the cat bite and had to wait a whole week, almost a week and a half, before we could actually start working on this. But this is what we've done, and I'll show you. We started out, you need a water source, a hose that connects to the pressure reduction, and this is a 15, it reduces it to a 15 psi, and then there's a filter here, and then you hook your water pipe to it. Now I had to go underneath the greenhouse here to get it into the inside of the greenhouse. Now that was not a problem. Once inside the greenhouse, we had to put a T in to take it over to that bed, and then we had to use the elbows to bring it up and over the top of the beds. Now I've got 3 beds here together. It's on the edge, so I just took it straight across. I didn't elbow it up and down. I just took it straight across. And then from there, now we had to run this water line first before we could ever put any of the emitters in. So we had to take it out of the greenhouse and over to that greenhouse. Now we were concerned about mows getting into that water line because it's really not that thick. So we buried a PVC pipe from here to there and ran the tube through it. Now we had to be careful. We had to be careful with doing this because once we got all in, we did have a problem, and we had to work on this because when we brought it up side, we originally had an elbow there, and it kinked the tubing to the point where it shut the water off. So we didn't have any water running in this one. So we had to take that elbow out and just bring the pipe up this way. No big deal. And then we did have to use one of their couplings, which is that thing there. It connects two of the water lines together, just in case you have just a split or anything. And two of those came with the kit. In this greenhouse, I have an in-bed, in-ground garden part. Had to bring it underneath and up and over these two beds. Back down again through here, over to here, to another in-ground bed, and then out of this greenhouse. Once we got out this greenhouse, we had to bury it between the two areas here. Had to pull up some of my stones and bury it underneath here so it can come up to this bed, across, and then it's back down again at an angle. We buried it between here and all the way up to here. Brought it back up with those 90-degree angles, across, back down, buried it to there, made a 90-degree angle, and out to the end. Then on the ends, you have to use a figure 8, which is like this. You put the pipe through here, and then pipe there, and then push it back, and that makes a kink, and that prevents any water from dripping. Next thing you have to do is decide where you want your emitters to go. Now these are fairly simple to do. It comes with a little tool that you just poke a hole on this side. You have to be careful not to go all the way through. And then you put this emitter into that little hole. Sounds simple enough. It is for a guy, I have to admit. I mean, I'm not the weakest person in the world, but after putting 2 of these in, I complained to my husband and said, could you help me? He put all the rest of them in. Yeah, he had to work a little bit to get them too, but he got them. And then the rest is easy. You just measure out your drip tape to however long you want it. Pop it onto the end, screw it down, and then it's done. So the system's working. It's a bit slow, but it's a drip system. It's not a sprinkler system. So it does take a while for it to saturate your beds. And mine were quite dry to begin with because we hadn't watered for a while. So we're leaving them run almost daily for right now until the seeds come up, until the ground actually gets saturated. I could go in here, and I may do that later, is just water the whole thing down with the other hose, and then I won't have to be running it every day. But once it gets established, once the soil gets moist, we should only have to run it a couple of times a week. Now the thing is, you run it long so you get a deep, your beds get deeply watered. You don't just sprinkle on top. So it does take a while to get them done. But you don't have to stand there with the hose and water and water and water. So it makes it very, very simple and very, very easy. So if you've been putting off doing an irrigation system, I would say go ahead and go for it. It's not that hard to do, and it makes a world of difference on your time. So like, share, subscribe, and see you in the next video. Bye everybody.